I am going to recap the classical thinkers, what we have discussed during the last 5 weeks. And I also discussed about the theory. Why we need to understand theory? Because this will help us to understand the theories propounded by Henry Foyle and other thinkers. And at the same time, we will be able to appreciate also. And moreover, during the next year, what happens is you are having a paper on research methodology and you have to do a project work also. So understanding a theory will be the best chance. As far as theory is concerned, people will be have difficult in understanding theory. I will try to give you the simplest form of understanding a theory. So ideas are logically arranged. See, we develop an idea and then another idea, a related idea over that. So logically arranged or sequentially placed. And why we need to arrange these ideas together is either to reinforce or to demolish the existing conviction. Reinforce means strengthening. In reinforce, see, we use this word reinforcement in civil engineering also, even in defense also. When the force is on the war front, what happens is they need arms and ammunitions as well as food, water, medicines, everything. So that is called reinforcement. Reinforcement means strengthening. And strengthening the already existing conviction. Conviction means here a strong viewpoint. Example is religious convictions. We say we have religiously having strong values, strong reasons to believe our own gods or something like that. So religious convictions you will be able to understand. So either to reinforce the existing conviction or to demolish the existing conviction. Demolish means buildings are demolished. The dilapidated buildings will be demolished. So what happens is, not only for these two, we are using this system of arranging the ideas in a logical order in order to create a base for new convictions. So these are all the options before making a theory. So we create a conceptual framework. Then we will relate that into other variables and then we will test our hypothesis and then we draw a conclusion. We deduce the facts and the results. And we will also recommend the things that are required to be carried out. So for example is the flowers. We have plenty of flowers, different sizes of flowers, different shapes, everything. And then a garland maker will put everything together and he will make a shape. So that gives us a meaning. So theory will give us a meaning. Then Henry Poincare. So whenever we think of theory, we have to think of the flower that is garland. See, we use the garland for garlanding person as well as the deities, temples. In temples also we use. And then Henry Poincare. Henry Poincare, he was a mathematician and he said, science is built on facts. So science is full of facts only. Everything is proven. So mere facts will not make a science. Just by telling here and there about so many facts, that will not make a science. We have to interpret the facts and we have to interpret with the present situation. Then only we can get a solution or something like that, whether our assumption is right or wrong. Similarly, he also gave another example to understand the theory is house is built on stones. Is it not? So house is built on stones, but a heap of stones is not a house. We cannot call it as a house because not only stone is required, wood and so many other things are required for house. So here the stones are one variable. So we have to create other variables also. We have to relate with each other, correlate, and then we have to derive a solution. This is called the theory. This will be useful. Henry Foyle, Henry Foyle, he was born in 1841 and he lived up to 1925. He was the mines engineer, and then he worked as a manager and then promoted as a general manager, and he worked as a chief executive officer, managing director for over 3 decades. And those days there was no management theories or management issues or managing the people also. See, these people have spent their entire life to understand, to solve the problems. So he contributed 6 activities of an organization. This is even now it is universally adopted, and 5 functions of an organization. And he also said about the qualities of a manager. These are all the things we have discussed in the earlier classes. And the 14 principles, still we are following so many things. And his view, what we have to understand is, whenever we talk about the classical thinkers or whoever it is, we have to understand what the time period was. What was the background? What was the situation prevailing there? So that we will be able to understand, appreciate. Because from nothing, these people have created a conceptual idea, and that was universally acceptable, and they are, even today we are practicing. So if we come to Taylor, what happens is, he is called the father of scientific management. He worked as a casual laborer in a workshop. He saw inefficiency everywhere. So he wanted to bring efficiency in the organization. So how do we say if a student is efficient, the other student is inefficient? Only by comparison we make the other student is inefficient. So we need, what do we need is a standard. The standard, we have Indian standards, and even in our college we have standards club with the Bureau of Indian Standards. So what is required is a standard. From the standard we compare what is the efficiency of that. And he also talked about the principles of scientific management. He talked about time and motion studies, and then he always talked about productivity, enhancing the productivity. His philosophy is to serve, that is, the maximum prosperity should be equally shared by the employers, the employees, as well as the consumer also, by way of cheaper prices for goods and services. And the term scientific management was not coined by F.W. Taylor. Actually, Louis Brandt is a lawyer, an advocate. We call only here advocate, there solicitor, like that. So he, while discussing his case before the Interstate Commerce Commission in US, he was talking about the concept of scientific management. He said, if we adopt the scientific principles in management of railways, then what happens is, the railways can make billions of dollars every year, like that. So he was hesitant to use that word, the phrase scientific management, and subsequently he decided to use that. He has invented many machines, and his contributions are even now, today we are using it. That incentives, piece rate system, time and motion studies, everything. So F.W. Taylor is a father of scientific management. His views are just like a jungle fowl, hen, in household hen, no, they just move around the floors only. And F.W. Taylor, he saw the entire administration from the bird's eye view. From the top he viewed. F.W. Taylor at the lowest level, at the workshop level. So Max Weber comes next. See, in public administration, what happens is, administration means the word derived from Latin word administrare, that means to serve. That is why serve or take care of the people, like that. So That's why we call the civil servants as civil servants only. That is serving the people. Here he said administration is domination. They have the authority, they should have the legitimacy or something like that. So the question of domination comes here. He only defined domination. Whenever we think of Max Weber, we have to think of bureaucracy also. And he analyzed the authority into traditional authority, charismatic authority, legal, rational authority. So what happens is he was focusing on structure. He was focusing on structure and he was giving the hierarchical position. The structure consisted of positions and actually the responsibilities also. And what was his inference is, this arrangement will be a rational one. And there are so many people criticized it because each position is manned by a human being. So the rational thing will not be there. Even we can witness in public organizations or the government departments where partiality or preference is given to their known persons or something like that. So Max Weber, he talked about bureaucracy, but he never defined bureaucracy. He gave us the characteristics of bureaucracy. Okay, and then by this we can understand. We have discussed a lot of things about Max Weber for more than a week. And Luther Gulick, he is a wonderful person. Even President Roosevelt employed him he employed him as a committee member to bring new management principles for the presidential office. So he was also a political science graduate, and then he was inspired by Henry Foyle, and then from his 14 principles he derived 10 principles and to suit the public administration. And for executive functions, post-corp was his contribution, and the theory of departmentalization was another contribution, that is the basis for how to create a department. There are 4 bases for creating a department, that is purpose, the process, the clientele or the person, and the place. And if we look at our public administration, the departments are based on these things only. We cannot say that one particular base is the worth or something like. According to the need and other things, we use this thing. Luther Gulick, he lived for 101 years. He was born in 1892. One thing I want to tell you is, he was born in the year 1892. He died in the year 1993. Even then, he was classified under classical thinkers. This is the most important essential point, because he was also talking about the structure of the organization. Structure is giving the responsibilities, position, status, etc., etc., etc. But each position, each status is manned by a human being. So what happens is, the human beings are liable to commit errors. Not only that, they will show favoritism. They will not be rational always. That is why the theory of F.W. Taylor was opposed only on that rational account. He said, my structure is the rational thing. Nobody can change like that. But even whenever we think of bureaucracy, Max Weber, we always remember Max Weber. So by this, what we understand is, whenever we study any classical thinkers or any contributors, we must understand the period of their life. Number one, the background that was existing when they were alive, when they were making the theories and other things. Then only we will be able to understand. See, look at these people. They were not having any previous knowledge on management or anything. So from nothing, these people have generated and generalized so many ideas, and even now it is universally acceptable. So whatever the criticism people say about these people, these are all the people who contributed initially, and it is still alive, and most of the contributions are being followed now. So this is why I always like the classical thinkers. See, only based on these classical thinkers, subsequent thoughts and subsequent theories were built. So the first contribution should be given to the classical thinkers, and this is the recap. Thank you very much.